signal to the world we are open for business.
I'm 𝗗𝗶𝗴𝗏 bringing you business news and information here on Open for Business. February inflation eased to 2.1%. Inflation in February slowed to 2.1% versus 2.9% in January, the National Statistics Authority, also known as the NSA, reported midweek. Last month's prices of food, utilities, and transportation helped ease the inflation. The latest rate is lower than the projected range of between 2.2% to 3% by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, also known as the BSP. Government's debt reached a record high of 16.31 trillion pesos. The government's debt hit a record high of 16.31 trillion pesos in January due to the weak peso, the Bureau of Treasury announced. It explained that the peso depreciation led to the inflated value of the foreign currency denominated obligations, prompting the government to cover the shortfall. Imported rice to drop to 45 pesos per kilo. The Department of Agriculture, also known as the DA, said it expects the maximum suggested retail price, also known as MSRP, of imported rice to go down to 45 pesos per kilo in late March, from 49 pesos a kilo due to the declining global prices of the commodity. Last year, the government lowered the tariffs on imported rice to 15%, with a promise of substantial drops in price by January this year. The DA also declared a national rice emergency due to the alarming extraordinary spike in the prices of the Filipino staple. May is Ease of Doing Business Month. The Anti-Red Tape Authority is tasked to spearhead the Ease of Doing Business Month for May, based on Proclamation 818 signed last Wednesday by Executive Lucas Bersamin. The directive is aimed at boosting efforts to enhance service delivery, create a business-friendly environment, and improve bureaucratic efficiency. And that's the Business Roundup for this week. I'm 𝗗𝗶𝗴𝗏 for Open for Business.
This portion is brought to you by Pure Gold. Sa Pure Gold, always mura, always kompleto, always may promo, always panalo.
30 years married, how do you guys do it?
Connecting heart to heart and eye to eye.
Paano pag lumabo ng mata?
EO Executive Optical, expert eye care, state-of-the-art facilities, affordable eyewear.
Stop staring. Connecting with you, Dad. Love you. Love your eyes.
The SINO-PHIL Asia International Peace Awards 2025 to bring you exceptional men and women as we stand witness to another milestone in the pursuit of peace. For years, this prestigious recognition has honored individuals whose dedication to diplomacy, humanitarian service, and social change has made a lasting impact. As we meet this year's laureates, we'll explore their inspiring journeys and the tangible ways they are shaping a more peaceful world. How will today's awardees continue this legacy? Let's find out. As a business leader involved in major London developments, because that was one of your backgrounds, how do you see economic growth contributing to peace and stability in communities, not necessarily in London, but in other parts of the world?
I think, business has a huge role. You've probably seen over the years, over the decades, the divide between rich and poor has grown wider and wider. There's no need for that, actually. There's enough money in the system, in the circulation. All we need to do is look at it slightly differently. Businesses like mine in London Tea Exchange, we do the same. Rather than saying, oh, we want to make 1,000% profit, half that is more than enough, So if businesses thought like this a bit more, there can be a lot more for everybody else. Unfortunately, there is a thinking sometimes that, you've got to really do people in at the bottom to make money. And that's not correct, actually. It's not right ethically in terms of business ethics and also sustainability. It's not something that will last. When we buy tea, we deliberately pay people more. And what it's done for us, it's made, we actually get better quality product as a result. Because we look after the people. We look after the employees. And they know, okay, this is London Tea Exchange tea we're doing, so it has to be the best. So there's a benefit. We've seen, since I started, a 23% increase in productivity. And why? Because they're happy, they're content, they can have sustainable lives. And so as businesses and business leaders, we can do a lot more. Often what happens is people say, oh, we'll make some profit, and then we'll give some charity. Many people don't want charity. They just want to get, the work I'm doing is around fair pay. They just want fair remuneration for the work that they do. So yes, it is possible. Businesses can play a big role, and I'm actually advocating for that. Let's take the tea industry, for example. If we were to carry on as we were, the entire industry is unsustainable. It will fall off the cliff because people aren't getting paid enough, and the people who are producing the tea aren't making enough money to actually make a profit. They're all making losses. And you might say, how can they be possible when in this tea business is over $100 billion industry? How can this be? Well, the profits are all at the top. Nothing is seeping down. So I started an initiative to say, no, it can be changed and it can be done. And we can sustain businesses and we can look after workers. And I've proven the point that it can be done. Now, once you know that it can be done in tea, and it can be done in other industries, you can't now suddenly say, oh, we can't do this. So in the first 7 months of us starting the Global Fair Pay Charter, 17 countries have already indicated they want to implement this. And 4 countries have already raised the pay. Most recently, Malaysia, I mentioned yesterday, over 100% increase in their salary. And they're sustaining themselves. Yes, there is pain. I have to say this as well. It's not always plain sailing. Suddenly, if you're a small business and your price, of employee cost goes up double, it's going to be challenging. Of course it is. But then you adjust it with your pricing. You adjust it with what you're selling to consumers, and consumers also will support these initiatives. I know when I tell people about tea, I say, well, you've got to pay a little bit more. So we can pay more to the people on the ground. They don't have a problem with that. We actually did a market study and we looked at 3 categories. Very low income families, the middle income family, and at the top. When we said, if you at the very bottom, we asked the question, will you be willing to pay a bit more, 15-20% more, if you knew that this money was going to go directly to the people? 82% said yes. Do you know why they said? They said, well, we know how it feels. And if it means we are going to pay another 20 pence or 20 cents for a product and it's sustaining them, then we'll do it. In the middle income, a lot of people didn't even know what they're buying. They just bought brands. If I asked them how much is a packet of tea, a lot of people didn't realize what the tea costs. And at the top, some of them don't even shop, They have people shopping for them. So in this misnomer of the world is going to fall off the cliff if we raise prices and things like that, it's not true. We've done the research, we've done the maths, it can be done. And now you can be done. This is the thing I'm trying to do. I'm saying to countries all around the world, well, countries like Malaysia, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, all of these countries are doing it. Vietnam, Thailand. So if they can do it, why can't you?
Where do you get all this inspiration? Was there any specific instance in your life triggered you for you to do this? Because in my interviews with other CEOs and other personalities, there is something in their lives, that made them realize, hey, I should do this. I should not be just looking at profit only, but take care of the planet and also people.
Well, I lost my father when I was 23. And we had a funeral in Bangladesh actually. Although we live in the UK, he wanted his final resting place to be with my grandfather. There's a burial site where all our ancestors are there. And at the funeral, we had thousands of people turn up. that my dad was supporting. We didn't know. And I'm like, who are these people, you know? And it does make me emotional. And so all these people said, look, you know, you don't know us, but your father did this, or your father, you know, helped a business, your father helped our house, and we want to pay our respects. And I thought, wow. So I thought, okay, in life, it's short. If we can do a little bit, why not? And that's where it comes from.
How do you feel that you are one of the honorees in tonight's event?
It's but natural to be really proud of being an awardee. First, because looking on all the awardees and all the guests, I think we're doing good for the country. Tourism. We've been telling them a lot of things about the Philippines, so now they're going around. They're going to Cebu, they're going to Palawan. They wanted to see what we've been telling them. So I really feel proud that I'm part of this awarding ceremony.
One of the key message here is peace. And from the different backgrounds, diba, there's medicine, there's media, there's physics, science, athletes, and kayo ngayon ang business. So ano po ba ang mensahe ninyo naman ng kapayapaan? I don't want to be political here, madam, but with what's happening in our country, ano ba ang ipinaglalaban din po ng businesses? Kasi lalo na ang PCCI ay Voice of Philippine Business. Pagdating po sa kapayapaan, gaano ba kahalaga ito sa mga negosyante?
Filipinos are naturally peace-loving. So, should there be conflict, like as you have said, increase in labor, impeachment, all the new agenda of the U.S. President, the tariff and all that, no? The way we look at it, people are just on a wait-and-see attitude. Nobody's revolting.
Yes.
They are just trying to see the end of all these things. We in the business, like for example, for the increase in labor, we know very well that the 200 pesos they're asking is not probably acceptable to the employers. But we're putting the decision to the right agencies. As we've been telling the Congress, let's not do it as a mandated or para bang you're forcing the employers, no? We have the agencies that really studied and do the balance between the employee and the employers. So, on that aspect, I can say that Filipinos really are peace-loving individuals. And for this kind of award, in this award, you know, we were asked to sign some documents.
Yeah, the communique, yes.
They told us that that will go to United Nations. And you know what it was?
What is
How to protect our laborers. The rights, the proper enumeration, their proper treatment, the respect and dignity for each and individual, both the employer and the employees. So with that, I should say they're doing a good job in creating this charter, trying to protect not only the rich ones, but including the poor ones. So I feel really very proud because I can translate it to our kababayan, to all the Filipinos, that there is such an organization that really look after the welfare of each one. Just be a role model. Role model in such a way that you do things the proper way. Balancing the situation, analyzing and acting like putting yourself to the shoes of the other party. That way you would know and you'll be able to balance situations. In business, for example, we are complaining of this and that, hindi kaya to, hindi kaya to. But then again, look at it on the side of the laborers, for example. How are they compared to our neighboring countries? I'm not favoring the laborers, no? But what I'm trying to say is that let us all look at both sides when we do some decisions. Whether you are a small, a medium, or a large enterprise, look at the situation properly. Be the first to see what is right and what is wrong. Apply it to your business.
I've traveled the world working with women and children all over the world. And so that experience, and as an athlete, definitely helps to, give me the stamina, the strength, and the resilience that it takes to face obstacles when you do, travel the world or when you experience different obstacles. So I'm excited about being here. One of my goals are making a difference in human lives, regardless, particularly children. And so being a part of this Peace Award, it really means the world to me. And Sir Billy is just magnificent. The warmth and the hospitality that I received coming here was way beyond expectation. So I am thrilled to be a part of this organization. Everyone here has done some marvelous things around the world, and that's what it takes. All of us to come together, change maker, peacemakers, to make a difference in people's lives. We have been fortunate to be blessed with certain things, so I want to be able to share my experience with others.
Sports is a great platform where even kids, as you mentioned, you're exposed to providing them a lot of opportunities, to create impact in terms of sports. How do you use sports, the promotion of peace in your platform?
Oh, absolutely. As I told you before, I traveled the world. Malawi is another place that I go to. It's one of the poorest African countries. And I took other Olympic athletes with me to Malawi to train the girls because, some kids, they're just so hungry for something, to do something great, and they are so talented, but they don't have the opportunity. So what I do is take my friends and we go around the world and we try to give them some of these experiences. And of course, track and field or any kind of sports is something that helps to build character, build strength, build resilience. When you fall down, you rub your knee off, you get up and you go again, So I have used all of my life experiences to share with others because that's how we grow. That's what I know. I know about sports, I know about healthcare, I know about education. So I can incorporate these things for young people and be an inspiration to them. And I just wrote a book not too long ago, My Mother, My Champion. Because I get all of this that I am today, it's my mother. She was a community leader. My sister, she talks about, don't let things get you down. Just know that you can always get up and you can always get an education, go to work. And people around the world are starving for education, but they're not able to get it. And so what we are able to do, some of us, is to impart some of these, share some of these, by giving, whether it's money or time or efforts to inspire them to keep going. I've gone to Africa where these kids are so poor, they have nothing. But yet when we go there, they're singing songs to us, they're happy. You would never know. Yes, but you would never know that they're poor because they are so happy, and they're so happy when they see us. Because when they see us, they see hope.
How do you think the entertainment industry should use its influence to foster positive social change?
I think here most important is the message, what they deliver to do, especially for the younger generation, these TV shows and the films, what we get out of it. That's very important. And as you know, right now stream companies is big in the world, easy to access, and everybody can, even the phones, digital phones, tablets, wherever we are in the world, doesn't matter, we can watch the content, not like old days, just watching from TV or cinema. It plays big role, and I hope for the future, these digital networks delivers right message to the younger generation. Also, they will improve that in the future. They are our future for the world, and that's the way I see. There's important key word is the delivering right message, important peaceful message for the world.
How do you think does arts and business contribute to global peace and diplomacy?
Well, that's a big question. As an artist, of course, I'm always interested in exploring the depth of human experience in all its facets, both the tragic and the happy and every kind of aspect of human experience. So this kind of awareness is very useful and important for interaction with other people and for a positive impact of culture on people's thinking and behavior. Usually I like to hope that people become happy when they hear my performance. If it's very serious and heavy, I hope they are moved by it, of course. So this is my approach from my profession, and then I teach people how to think this way and to be able to realize these principles in performance.
You've performed with some internationally known artists yourself.
Yes, I have.
Can you share with us a moment where arts and music, the opera singing, has transcended boundaries and connected people?
Oh, they do that all the time. My opera training was in Vienna, and I remember among my classmates we have about 27 nationalities. So already from the beginning of working in this profession, you are international. And if you then continue on that path, then you just meet more and more people from all over the world. And over the years, more people from outside Europe, not only Americas, but Asia, Africa, more and more singers coming out of all the other countries of the world. And it's like we have a little family of people on the same track, singing beautiful music. We sing usually very often in Italian, but it can be German, French, Russian, many different languages. And it's just like we feel like we belong to the same community wherever we go in the world. So it's a very good example of peace, influence on peace, and you need peace to be able to do that.
So you believe these singers do not mind whatever culture it is that the song comes from, for as long as they are able to sing from the heart?
That's a good way of putting it, yes, I would say. In fact, when I work on preparing a song or a role, or I'm teaching people to do that, I'm trying to make sure we get deep into understanding and feeling for the culture. So you sing a French song, you have to understand more about what is French culture and how people behave and what's the history, the traditions, and the same with German or Italian or whatever language you're singing in.
And this knowledge connects each other despite the differences in cultures.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, we can look for differences or we can emphasize what we have in common, so the common humanity, so to speak, right? So I think that's the differences we can appreciate should not erase the differences. It's interesting. When I go to a different country, different culture, I like to explore what it's really like in the food, the people, the history, everything. So it just enriches my own life. And it makes it very comfortable to move around the whole world. I've lived in Africa, Europe, America, and Asia. So that's my own life experience.
The world is craving for peace. And the idea of promotion of peace is well appreciated as far as I'm concerned.
The world is full of a lot of developments, a lot of countries are also fighting. There's a lot of geopolitical events happening in the country. What is your wish, Your Majesty, for these countries, these nations in terms of peace?
I think people need to come together. At the time monarchies existed, a king was seen as the father of the nation. The head of the family was the leader of the country, and in most cases, they did well in uniting the people. You don't want to either discriminate or love children over the others more than you love the others. So that umbrella, I think, was a unifying factor for the possibility that there is peace and harmony.
Thank you, Your Majesty. It's an honor to ask you questions. Open for Business will be back. Stay with us.
Ngayong linggo, sure na may papremyo para sa mga kabarangay nating Bulakenyo at Valenzuelanos. Sa Lunes, makikigulo tayo sa Barangay Poblasyon 1, Marilao, Bulacan. Martes, sa mga taga-barangay Tabing Ilog, Marilao tayo mag-aagahan. Sa Miyerkules, mag-good morning tayo sa Barangay Santa Rosa 2, Marilao. Makikisayaw naman tayo sa Huwebes sa Barangay Patubig, Marilao, Bulacan. Biyernes, masarap ang kwentuhan sa Barangay Dalandanan, Valenzuela City. Enjoy ang bawat umaga kasama ang kabarangay nyo. LTE, love, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Let's live together, Sunday 25.
I think this Peace Foundation is a powerful platform, for the global community to come together to really spread the very basic idea. Everybody wants to be in the high ground. The highest ground in the world is to be the channel of peace. Because there are wars, there are conflicts, there are the haves and the have-nots, power to be peace.
In your background, you mentioned yesterday how powerful brands are as well. So what is the role of these different brands in this advocacy now? How do you tap these brands in the promotion of peace?
The longest part of my career is with the Coca-Cola Company. This brand has been around for 139 years. And it stays young, it stays relevant because it has a focus on the fundamental values of young people, is peace and love. It goes back to one of the very famous commercials. That group of young people from different nationalities, different cultures, going up to the hilltop, singing that famous song called I Like to Teach the World to Sing in Perfect Harmony. At the time, there was the Vietnam War, there was, like today, there is the Iraq War, there is this and that. And any brand, have to embrace what is relevant, important to the young and the young at heart. And peace is a very central part of that attributes.
With the advocacy of social media, with advocacy of artificial intelligence, brand management, building a brand is changing. The landscape even of media is changing. Gone were the days where broadcasters like us are just the main source of news, but now anyone can do it. What is your view on the changing media landscape and how influential are these compared to the established brands or networks?
I think the social media in general is now the mainstream media. It has been that for a number of years. And the traditional mainstream media, legacy media have to reinvent themselves to stay relevant. And the success of social media is what, as I'm sure you know, is called the user-generated content. Because everybody has a microphone, everybody has a camera, is the reporter, is the programmer. So for all of us, is to be able to stay close to that individual. And collectively, they create a voice. So it's not through one channel, it's an empty channel. And the social media has taught us that. And for every brand, for every consumer to understand that is an absolutely important part of the successful formula.
You spent your career building a brand, and we noticed that it's in different countries. How important is the study of the different cultures to make sure that the brands would still be sustainable despite its presence in many cultures and countries?
Yes. I learned that again from the Coca-Cola Company. Instead of calling themselves the multinational, they call themselves multi-local. And also, when I was chairman of a public company in the whole Asia, Greater China area, many of the reporters, analysts would ask, the Western brands, the Eastern Oriental brands, which one becomes successful? And my answer is the truth that any global brand wants to be successful in the local market, it has to become local. And any local brands wants to be successful has to be a global. For example, San Miguel, is the #1 powerful brand in the Philippines. But for them to go to Hong Kong, they go to China, they go to America, they go to everywhere else, they have to become the local. That's the single biggest challenge and opportunity. They cannot just go there, please try this Philippines #1. That's the success of Coca-Cola.
Somehow.
Exactly. That's the success of Coca-Cola in 200 countries. They never say, please try this America's #1. They go to Japan, they say, this is Japan's #1. They go to China, this is China's #1. They go to France, they say, this is French people's drink. Mickey Mouse, same. They go to Paris, Mickey Mouse speaks French.
Yeah.
They go to Shanghai, they speak Shanghainese. So this whole multinational is an outdated philosophy. It's multi-local and also the global plus local. It was even in the George Clooney movie. It's called Glocal.
Okay.
So that's really the future for everybody to eventually you cannot see the difference. If you're successful, you are a Filipino brand. Your origin could be Europe, your origin could be America, but if you want to be successful in the Philippines, people will see you as a Filipino company.
Given that background and experience, there are also views on what's happening in the world, especially with the geopolitical events that's happening. So, of course, businesses would like peace so that, the businesses will continue to thrive. But with your background, what are the wish list of brands in terms of business continuity despite the geopolitical events that's happening in the world?
Yes. It used to be business can kind of stay apolitical, but in this day and age, no, everybody is it's all come together as one big opportunity and challenge. I'll give you an example, Shanghai. The current Prime Minister of China, his previous job is the mayor of Shanghai. Okay? And Prime Minister Li, when he was in Shanghai, he did two things, which explains why this whole decoupling, this fighting between China and America, the two biggest economies, is the world's most successful, most productive gigafactory for Elon Musk. The Tesla factory is in Shanghai. The whole joint venture was done with 100% control, by the investor, the famous Elon Musk. But there are a strict quota for the Tesla car made in China for export, and the technology transfer and blah, blah, blah. So eventually it is one of those powerful examples of how, forget about the political blah, blah, blah. In the real world, the two country, the two culture, the two economy works beautifully. Everybody makes a lot of money, everybody very successful, consumer very, very happy. And one of the catalysts for China become the biggest export car company with electric vehicles, and then the success of BYDs and all that kind of all part of the package. And the second example is Shanghai Disneyland. I talk about Mickey Mouse. The week after the COVID, this pandemic over, I got on the plane back to Shanghai, buzzing people everywhere. So I call up my friend, the CEO of the Shanghai Disneyland. I said, I want to take a visit to see how's Mickey. And Shanghai Disneyland is like 10 minutes from the Pudong Airport. So I went to the Pudong Airport, get my plane back to Hong Kong on the Cathay Pacific and the lounge. Pudong Airport was like a ghost town. How can that be? And then I walked to the lounge, I asked the airline people, I say, why? They say during 3 years COVID, they fired all of the staff because, no business, so they only got planes. There used to be 25 flights between Hong Kong and Shanghai, but now they can only have enough people to fly 3. And then I call up my friends at Shanghai Disneyland. I say, how did you do it? They said they have not fired anybody during the COVID 3 years. Everybody's in training.
Oh, wow.
Training, ready for it to open, bam. And I think, wow, this is so inspiring. Because every company in the annual report, they say people is my biggest asset.
Oh, yeah.
Until there's a crisis. Sorry. But in this case, you know, the Shanghai Disneyland, you know, together with the Shanghai government, decided to say we're firing nobody. We're waiting for the pandemic to be over, so the day they come back, they get all the business back immediately. Whereas the Pudong Airport, the airlines, the traditional business models, you know, sorry, you know, no business, you know, so everybody changed jobs. So that's really a very powerful, you know, experience to teach me how to have respect for the local, have respect for people, because at the end, that's really what drives every business.
Of course, you spoke about China and the U.S. and we see the growing, and of course you're based in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
We see how powerful Asia has become. What's your outlook on that? Would you see the bigger role of Asia in global business?
I think it's critical, you know, because Asia has been growing faster than the rest of the world for a long period of time, with the ASEANs, with China's, with Japan's and all that. And it's important for all the big countries in Asia, you know, the China, the Japan, the ASEANs, the Philippines, the global South. They all really come together because we have only one home, it's called the Earth. You know, we must, you know, put all of our energy to take care of our environment, take care of our people, take care of our business. You know, all these artificial lines of country boundaries, you know, fighting in the waters, you know, all that stuff. You put that aside. You know, we're here to really help each other. Peace, you know, to be successful, to respect each other, to build a business. Everybody truly wins. Because everybody talks about win-win. But at the end, you know, I gave you the example. You know, the Tesla Gigafactory in Shanghai, win-win. The Shanghai Disneyland in Shanghai, win-win. And that's the only way to go. You know, the countries within ASEAN, the countries within Global South, the country in the world, instead of, you know, in fighting. You know, all the politicians have to kind of learn from practical business people like yourself and your channel, and to say, hey, come on, life is too short. You know, we have to really sort of start with a very peaceful, calm way to understand each other. The cultural differences, you know, what we want is, because the Philippine dream, the American dream, the China dream is the same. Everybody wants to be from zero to hero. Everybody wants to have a good life. Everybody wants to enjoy. Everybody wants to have health. It's exactly the same, whatever flag you put on.
I am so excited to be here to receive this award. I'm a physician scientist. So by training, I'm a physician, have treated a patient for many years, and then I did my PhD in cancer research. So I have a passion for, as a physician, treating diseases and also to promote global health. And I'm a woman, so I'm very passionate about the empowering women's leadership and improve the health. So now, and all these initiatives are very important to the world peace. So I'd like to make great contributions as much as I can, especially after receiving this award. I'm sure, this will give me great encouragement to do better, to do more in the future for the world peace.
As a medical educator and surgeon who worked across multiple countries, regions, in your view, sir, what are the biggest gaps in the global healthcare education that still needs to be addressed?
Sure. I always say one thing to my medical students and graduates and young doctors, that though we are living in one planet, we are living in different worlds. We talk about going to Mars and moons, but in this very planet, we have different worlds. You go to refugee camp and you see the mothers and children, how they survive. You go to the very mountainous areas of the tribal areas and you see how they live, okay? So Physiologically, anatomically, we have the same body. But our environmental issues are much more complex, what we have. So that's one thing. And as you mentioned, that we are working 4 different continents. And I was privileged to receive a member of British Empire Award by the Queen Elizabeth for my work in New Guinea. Okay. So on education front and healthcare front as a surgeon, I had opportunity to do many things. And I think I consider myself as a privilege. Okay, that's important. Other message I give it to young generation now is that they're talking about lifestyle issue. Lifestyle issue doesn't mean that you're lying on the beach and looking at the sun. There's no life, there's no style in that. As far as the medical graduates or the young doctors are concerned, I always let them know that patients are our teachers. We learn from our patients, so we should respect them. We should have really good professionalism. Another message I give it to all the graduates and the young doctors is nothing wrong becoming rich, but don't become rich by exploitation. Okay? Because there's a perception on the people that you go to the public hospital and you go to private hospital, things are different. Okay? Now there's going to be different if you want professional treatment in private enterprise. That's your right, but nothing should be done by exploitation. Okay, so those are the basic things I do. And in Macau, our medical school, which is the first medical school in Macau, and I had a privilege to become Executive Vice Dean. And what I'm trying to tell all the graduates of the future is that though we have got AI, ChatGPT and all those things, don't forget the patients are not furniture. They are human beings, okay? And how you should treat them with respect, professionalism, and that's what we are trying to implant on the minds of the people. And the last message I have is that I thought 21st century would be the century of peace, but unfortunately it's in pieces. I think we got a wrong spelling. People don't know how to spell peace.
Ask the teacher, you prepare a new teacher for civic education in Czech Republic and ask for former Minister of the Culture in Czech Republic. For young people, very important security and peace. It's very important not only for teacher and students, but the young people, it's very sensitive.
So what's your impression of the Filipino people?
Yes, again, they are very, very friendly, extremely, because I have experience of travel, and I think one of the best people in the world.
Your work in nanomaterials,
yes.
These had broad applications in medicine, technology, and energy. So with your work on this nanotechnology, how does this contribute to global sustainability and peace?
Yes, look, what we are doing, we are trying to make the devices as small as possible. And now only crystal of several tens of atoms can serve as device. The smaller devices are, the less energy they consume. If you take, for instance, your iPhone, you will see it becomes hot very quickly, which is destroyed. So our objective is to reduce the size, to make it cooler and to put more information. So because of this, first of all, we have energy sustainability of the humanity. The second, our ideas to create some kind of crystals that can help synthesize in controlled way new type of the medicine. You see, because if you take medicine, they can be right hand and left hand, and sometimes it can be only like our DNA, by the way. Left hand can be very good and right hand can be very bad. And the problem is to separate. So we create the precursor for the separation. So again, this is very, very good for medicine. And finally, all of this are very good for computing technology. because the challenge now, computer with very strong performance, but the human brain is quick. Why? Because our computer now is a binary, and the people are thinking in a very, very non-linear way. It's like computer have yes or no, and you know, some people yes, no, maybe, neither yes, nor no. And this is very important to take this decision. So we introduce such type of the human thinking to computer. So very soon I hope the computer will be more quick.
What are the latest applications of these technologies? Will we see computers embedded in brains like what we see in the movies?
No, fortunately, I'm not working with such type. I also very suspicious about this. But computer can replace the brain instead, but of course not all. And you see now what you see with artificial intelligence is done on the base on the old computers. So somewhere in cloud you have a very, very big mainframe. If we're supposed to reduce, because they introduce this logic, they already on the level of the small crystals. So what we think it will be, I don't know again about the implant, but to have in your iPhone have the artificial intelligence like you have the ChatGPT. It will be, yes, very quick.
You mentioned about medicine. I think this has a lot of help, and you also mentioned about technologies. What do you think are the most relevant or the other relevant applications of these latest developments in terms of promotion of peace? But I like the application in medicine, but do you think there will be other applications aside from medicine?
Our science are neutral. There is no good, there is no bad.
Okay.
What is important, and which is I think more important that you ask me, science should be open. It should be open for everybody, and everybody should have the access and possibility to work there. So I'm really very promoting, it's called academic freedom, which is part of the human freedom, and which is part of the keeping, the right of the person. So this is very important, because what happens now in the world, you have very rich laboratory which take all of this patent and so on, and even we are somehow suffer from them because they may block some small independent researcher. So what is even more important is somehow to find the way that any laboratory, small laboratory in Philippines, should contribute to the development. So it's called open science, to sharing the information that everybody can have possibility to work therein.
Research focuses on trauma-related disorders and intervention for children's mental health.
Yeah.
What are some of the most promising developments in AI-assisted psychological intervention?
Yeah, thank you very much for your question. So my original work is about treating people who had PTSD or children or adolescents who had like anxiety or depression or other mental disorders. But we found a problem that in like low resource areas that we have so many maybe mental health disorders, but we also lack of mental health professionals, not just in mental health, but also in the general health care. So it's quite important. So now we have extended our work, not just about treating patients, I mean mental disorder patients, but also train how can we develop a system like AI-assisted, or we call the AI-informed system, to accelerate the training speed of we can like have more professionals. Also, we have some lots of good mental health method to how to cure people, but the population is large that if we do one by one, it's quite slow. That not all those people, especially in low resource area, can get the care. So now we have extended our work that we are trying to enhance the mental health competency of like school teachers, that they will face lots of students. If they have a better mental health competency, that they know like a first level, like how to deal with children's mental health problem, then we don't need to wait until the children or patients get sick to need to see the next level professional. So we think that's very important. Also, we are trying to extend our training to medical staff. We found that medical staff, they are also have their own problem, like the secondary trauma. Because they have to deal with sick people every day and they have very high workload. So we found it's also important for them to have a resilient. So our training have two parts. One is for their own health, mental health. The other one is to teach them like how to better take care of patients' mental health, not just for doctors but also nurses. So that's our training. So if we want to accelerate the trainings and also to make it scalable, maybe not just in a small hospital, but like a large scale training. And we now use the AI system. Like we have train a very smart AI patient. So after our training, the medical staff or school teachers, they can use the AI patient or AI student to practice in the skills they learn. So it will be zero risk, right? This is a good practice. So that's like a system we are developing, and we would like to extend our work future.
We're promoting peace and promoting the goodwill of humanity for many, many years. Love to be back in the Philippines. And also, as you know, many of the laureates and many of the peacemakers, peace builders, they're from very different parts of the world. Some of them from Europe, northern China, and Canada, and their temperature is sub-zero at the moment. So they're coming here, get a bit of a respite, a bit of a break, and also they can promote this noble cause and forging new friendship, so to speak, with many different people from all around the world. That's something that drives me going forward until the day that I can't be here anymore. So at least I can pass it on. Somebody would hold the torch and be the flame keeper and carry on again. And it's something that I really like to do. Peace is something quite profound. I don't want to get it too deep into crossing boundaries, cross creed. If I ask my 5-year-old boy, actually I've asked him once, I said, what do you think about peace? He has no idea what I'm talking about. But if I ask my 5-year-old boy, what makes you feel most comfortable and warm and you feel happy? And he would say, Daddy, when Mommy and Daddy gave me a hug, give me cuddles, and you tell me stories before I go to bed, bedtime stories, I feel most comfortable. And that translates to smile, kindness. That Filipino people has got the best of hospitality, of course. So that's why I chose this place to do it. And that translates to compassion, love, and connections. So if you ask me what peace is all about in a very primitive way. And of course, when you get a bit deeper, is now we are having 23 different countries, over 230 attendees coming from all over the world to Manila to attend this particular event. That makes me very happy. It's not half the work done, but at least I can sort of promote it in a positive way. As cliche as you want to say, to make the world a better place, and I'm trying to do that.
What qualities do you look for to have a person become a laureate?
Well, we've got a very extensive panel of jurors to decide, but in many categories, of course. But at least they have to do something remarkable for the betterment of mankind. And of course, we have artists, we have journalists, we have policymakers, many of those. But most of them, they have contributed, significantly in their own field. I would say when we look at the selections, we have to be very careful to make sure that their message is right, and also they're sending out real information. Because today we are facing a barrage of misinformation and disinformation on the tip of the finger. And this is something that we want to hold something together. The pillar of humankind is connection and compassion. So that's something we look at, the quality of that particular laureate. Yeah.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka nang mangamba. Sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Mailalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa New Era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Sa kasulukuyang henerasyon, marami na ang nag-viral. Dahil po yan sa kanilang ginagawang pagtulong sa kapwa. Pero mas marami ang tumutulong kahit walang nakakakita. Kaya naman kung ikaw ay may kilala na grupo o individual na may natatanging pagresponde sa lipunan at maging sa kalikasan, mag-text lamang sa 0915-415-1035 o mag-email sa responde@net25.com at magpadala ng mensahe sa ating Facebook page at Net25TV. Baka kayo na ang susunod nating Certified Key Responder.
Let's get together. Sa Net25. Sa Net25.
From diplomacy and governance to humanitarian efforts and media, tonight's honorees have proven that peace is built through action. As they carry their recognition, we look forward to seeing how their contributions will further shape our world. Congratulations once again to all the laureates.